guys, Asher Kanagashi today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Glad to have you all here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Spend a little bit of time out of your day talking some raid with yours truly. How you guys been? First of all, I haven't checked in with you guys in a while. I'm great. A few concerts here in the last week and then this week or next week as well for me. I saw a Dave Matthews Band. It was great. Long, like 3-hour drive home at like 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. Got here at 4, but I'm recovering and I'm doing pretty well besides that. I'm actually going to see Usher in his Vegas residency in a few days as well, so that should be really fun. Other than that, just kind of same old, taking the boy to the beach, water parks, amusement parks, anything I can find that will occupy our time in a really fun way, other than binging Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is still taking up the majority of our time, although we're getting closer and closer to the end of that game. Anyway, during all of that, I'm still playing Raid Shadow Legends. I'm still looking for a new TV show as well. Thank you for all the recommendations, guys. I'm finishing up Ulysses S. Grant on my audiobook, and I finished Succession. I absolutely loved this show. It took me like a whole season, though, to actually grow on me enough, which was, that's a long time to give a big recommendation on a show. You know, you ever watch a TV show like that, the whole first season? What's another one for me? It's Mad Men is kind of like that for me, right? Where everybody says it's amazing, and I just can't get through the first season.
A lot of times in life, you get to do something, and you don't realize until it's over how much you enjoyed it.
Anyway, guys, today's video, I've maxed out a lot of champions in this game. Most of all the champions in the game, right? So I've maxed them out, I've tried them out, done a guide on them, and today I want to share 20 champions who genuinely exceeded my expectations. That way, maybe you're kind of borderline on the fence. Maybe they're guarding your vault and you're just not sure about it. Are they legit or are they not? At least in my experience, they you know, I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good deal. Some of these champions will be really good. Some of them will be very niche. You probably haven't even heard of them. So without further ado, excuse me, let's get to it. I have like 4 or 5 rares and about a dozen epics, and the rest are legendaries. So let's get to it here with the rares, right? Since there are only a few of them. I want to start with, I actually mentioned this champion in, when did I mention him? I mentioned him really recently, I think in the rare video with AoEs on the A1, but I had to give another shout out to Abyssal, okay? For a second, I forgot what faction he was, hence the delay.
Is it obvious? I say...
I know I can't afford to stop.
No, idiot!
Abyssal is a really, really cool rare champion. I was on the fence on this guy, though, when he came out. I was like, okay, his kit's okay. I mean, he does have that AoE on the A1, one of only 6 rares in the game to have that, right? Great for a stun set, great for control, which is still my main use case for him. Having the 30% chance of a block buffs, or 35 with Sniper Mastery, is actually really good on an AoE on the A1. It just adds more control, especially if he's in a stun set. And then having the heal on a 3-turn cooldown, and then having the increased defense and increased attack on the same ability, granted weak versions on a 4-turn cooldown, but you put that whole kit together and it actually serves some really nice utility in a stun set. He really does. Stuns on the A1, block buffs on the A1, heals on the A2, increased defense, increased attack. Where this ability is really good is you might not have both of those buffs on any given team. You might have neither of them, and he can at least fill in and give you something out of those 2 quintessential buffs to set up your nukers, defense or attack based, or just give more defense to all your champions. The next one is going to be an old school champion, guys. I waited so long to invest in this champion, and I mentioned it before. Man, Executioner is really good. First of all, I've learned throughout the years that I really enjoy and I like and I err on the side of, if I'm between 2 champions, going with the defense-based champion, especially on rares where let's face it, they're squishy, they're hard to keep alive. So if I'm going to invest my hard-earned resources into any champion, it's more likely, if it's a difference maker, I'm going to go with a defense-based champion like Executioner. 1255 on his base defense. He is very slow at 89, but don't let that deter you, right? right? My man's got a big version, increased defense, and a counterattack. Why is this extra important? It's not just for the survivability. You're going to get a lot more damage out of this champion with the big version of increased defense on him on a 3 turns last duration, right? On a 4-turn cooldown. So it's not a bad ability at all. You're going to getting more damage. You have a stun on the A1, 30% chance. On the A2, 3-turn cooldown. It oddly scales off of attack and defense, which is so dumb. I wish they would change that on all champions like that. He's a defense-based champion with no base attack. Why would they do that?
No one ever is gonna find out. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to make sense. You're right. I'm gonna do it.
That being said, he can still deal some nice damage even without stacking a ton of attack on him. He decreases turn meter on an AoE by 20% on a 3-turn cooldown, and he's bringing the weak version of decreased speed, which if you don't have any version, 15% decreased speed is still really, really powerful. Not to mention the turn meter, not to mention the damage, all on a 3-turn AoE. Very good champion, easy to keep alive. I really should have maxed him out sooner. I use him in all of the rare magic affinity secret rooms that I possibly can, or any rare only secret room. Just really like that dude. All right, next up, guys, is going to be Dark Elves, man. Another old school, right? There's actually a lot of newer champions, almost all on the rest of the list, the epics and the legendaries, but rare sometimes. There's a rare out there like Judge or Executioner for that matter. They've been around for a while, but you just never kind of took the leap, right? Judge is that for me as well. Now, this is very recently that I invested in Judge. He's super cool, man. He is super cool, this champion. Damage increased by 10% for each debuff, stacking up to 100% extra damage on the A1. Nice to have. Then he's got an AoE ×2. He's an attack-based nuker. 738 on the defense, but 1476 on the attack. So he's kind of a glass cannon. Well, he is. He's a glass cannon, right? AoE ×2 fills a turn meter by 10% for each critical hit. That's really good too, right? Great ability on Blade Dance. And then, this is his only active skill, just his AoE on the 3-turn cooldown on the A2, but Chaos Armor is really good as well. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a decreased accuracy, decreased speed, decreased attack, or a decreased defense on the target for 1 turn. So this happens on each hit. He's hitting AoE ×2. It's a mini Contra-like ability in the sense of that he's placing a lot of debuffs. They're all the big version, too, out of a rare champion. If you can keep this alive, he's a sneaky, addition for extra damage and just a bunch of random debuffs to kind of fill out your squad. I really like Judge. Really, really cool champion. Now, the last one, guys, is going to be a champion that probably many of you guys have not even heard of, and it's Cagebound. So Cagebound, I maxed out on one of those videos that I do, like pulling random champions, maxing random champions who I pull. I'm going to have another one of those in next Clan vs. Clan, guys. Sorry, they just take a lot of time to record. I get the requests, a lot of requests for that series. It takes me, 4 to 5 hours, so I really have to do that on the weekends when I have extra time and I don't have my kiddo. Lizardman, rare, Cagebound. He's a defense-based champion. We just talked about how I love defense-based rares, right? So what's so special about Cagebound? Well, he's got a shield on himself on his A1. On the A2, it's an AoE, 100% chance of a decreased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. That's very good. Even though it's a weak version of decreased attack, if you don't already have it on your team, it's a great damage mitigator, obviously. And it's 100% land rate. It's reliable on a 3-turn cooldown. There's no weak hits. He's a void affinity champion, okay? On the A3, we have an ally protect and a continuous heal on this champion on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, again, it's the weak version of Ally Protect, but 25% Ally Protect is still one of the better damage mitigators inside the entire game. It's the same as the big version of Strengthen, only that he's going to be soaking up that damage instead, which is nice that he has the continuous heal, and it's nice that he has the shield on his A1 as well. So why would you invest in this champion? Why did he impress me? First of all, this dude with 1255, 14.7 on his HP and his defense, a big version of Ally Protect would not be good on this champion. He would not be able to sustain all of that damage, especially as you scale to the mid and the late game. But with a 25%, that is absolutely perfect. That is on a 3-turn cooldown as well. This is, for my money, he's the best ally protector out of any rare champion out there. It's very simple. He can heal himself, keep himself alive. He can mitigate more damage with a decreased attack, a dependable AoE. And then again, that ally protect at 25% is great. So again, is he an absolute game changer? No. Oh!
Then what am I doing here?
But he's a champion that, to me, there's more than meets the eye here. He's certainly worth investing in if you're struggling for a progression anywhere inside the game and kind of in the early game still. He's also a champion you can book out and simply take to level 50 and still get a ton of utility out of, right? So he doesn't even need to be maxed. All you have to do is just stack up as much defense and HP as you possibly can, and he'll do the rest with the Bound to Serve on the A3. All right, guys, let's move on to the epics, okay? So one of the epics, man, I just absolutely love this guy. I think that Skrank is and I maxed him on my mini account. I don't have him on my main account here. And he is, well, I think I'm just going to say, I think he's the best epic burner in the game.
And I realized I'd like to shoot people.
This guy is really, really good. He's kind of newish. I think about it, within the last year he was released. Again, void affinity here, so affinity does not matter. We love that, especially on a burner where we really want to land those burns, and we don't have to want to, switch gear or slot between burners per stage. We have the weaken big version on the A1. It goes all the way up to 75% chance if they're under an HP burn. Nice to have as well. A nice addition to his kit. We already need accuracy anyway. He attacks one enemy 2 times with a heal. Increase attack if the target's under a burn. On the A3, here it is. 3-turn cooldown. Unleash Havoc. AoE, 100% chance of placing an HP burn for 2 turns. Fills his champion's turn meter by 15% if at least one enemy is hit with a critical hit, right? It doesn't sound like much, but that turn meter fill helps him get back to the burn even sooner, thus landing it, closer to 3 out of every 3 turns. And then last but not least, his Pyromania increases champion's attack and crit damage by 5% every time an HP burn debuff triggers on an enemy. So a 25% extra attack and crit damage to get more damage, obviously, out of his AoE and out of his A2, just in terms of sheer, just damage on the multiplier. So overall, you're getting a lot of damage, nice AoEs, nice base attack, and a great burner there in Skrank. All right, I'm going to cover 2 of the guys that I probably talk about. I probably should have a rule that we should either do a shot or just never talk about these champions. But I have to mention them because you guys know unabashedly I think that Tagore is one of the best epic champions inside the entire game. And that is not hyperbole. That's facts, guys. Big version increased defense for 2 turns on the ally lowest HP on his A1, okay? Very good A1 add-on ability, just no big deal. Whoever needs it the most, big version of increased defense. Do not sleep on that A1. On the A2, an AoE, on a 3-turn cooldown, with a heal based on this champion's max HP, a great heal, sneaky little damage there out of a freaking reviver on an AoE attack, and the big version of increased speed. I mean, yeah, that's a really sick ability. And then he has an AoE revival as well. Also, a shield on all allies for 2 turns, 20% of this champion's max HP. Now, in this case, I actually really like this. This ability will work even if he doesn't revive anybody. Some champions, I don't like if they have that ability. Tagore, I like that he has that because he's just adding a shield every 5 turns just to help out with more survivability out of this champion if nobody is dead. And it makes him a dependable part of a run where nobody's dying, right? You might have a 100% success rate on a run with a given team, but you could still use the increased defense. You could still use the increased speed. You could still use the heals. You could still use the damage mitigation. All allies 50% HP or less mitigate damage by 10%. It's a great passive on top of everything else in the aura. So really, really good champion. He deals some damage too. He's one of the best releases, I think, in recent memory in the game. And then the other one that I talk about quite a bit is Karamus. Really like this guy as well here. High Elf, HP-based champion. He can also deal some sneaky damage. He has a stun on the A1. This is an important A1 to take note of. Attacks one enemy, has a 90% chance, of stealing 15% of the target's turn meter. Has a 30% chance of placing a stun debuff if the target's turn meter is fully depleted by this skill. How would it be fully depleted? Why would it be? Well, because he's counterattacking. Well, let's just go through his entire kit first. On the A2, AoE, decrease the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, okay? Good ability right there off the bat. Has a 75% chance to place a decreased attack for 2 turns. Even better, right? Big version. And then fills his champion's turn meter by 10% for each buff that has its duration decreased. And again, that's all enemy buffs. So if there's like 2 enemies with 10 or 5 buffs each, and you go in there and you decrease that duration, that's 10 buffs. It's 100% turn meter fill. That's really good. On the A3, 100% provoke on a 3-turn cooldown with a counterattack and a continuous heal. This is why that A1 comes into play, right? He's placing that counterattack on himself. Thus, when a provoked enemy attacks him, they're not going to have any turn meter left. He's going to counterattack after that and stun and steal turn meter. It's a really sneaky good kit. It's been a while since I've seen a kit, especially an epic kit, with this just much robust synergy between all of the skills. It's great. HP in all battles by 25% as well on that great aura. Karamus is amazing. All right, let's hit you guys with some maybe lesser known champions. This champion's not absolutely, super new, and she's not super old either. And it's Urgada. She is a Spirit Affinity Demon Spawn attack-based champion. She's the bug.
What? How can you say that?
This goes out to all the lucky girls out there.
I never understand you women. God.
The big downside is all these books. The upside is she has a very unique and versatile kit, especially when we talk about like Clan Boss and areas like that. So she is the game's best poisoner who doesn't have poison in her kit. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I can't think of one off the top of my head that's better. We have a 50% chance each hit of increasing the duration of 2 poisons for 1 turn. So again, we get a 50% chance on each hit, which is great. On the A2, attack 1 enemy 3 times each hit with a 50% chance of placing poison sensitivity for 2 turns. It happens on each hit, so it's very dependable on a 3-turn cooldown. And then a 4-time at random each hit with a 50% chance of placing a hex for 2 turns. So now we get the hex, poison increased duration, and poison sensitivity, and a triple hitter and a quad hitter and a dual hitter. So she's great for Fire Knight, she's great for Clan Boss, she's great for Dragon, okay? Whenever either this champion or an ally lands a critical hit on an enemy under Hex, has a 25% chance, when booked, of placing a poison, big version, on the enemy for 1 turn. So I guess technically, she does have poison on that passive there, but that's a really cool and unique passive as well. All you got to do is land a critical hit on a Hex champion. She has Hex in her kit, and we're have a shot at least, placing a big version of poison. So very cool, a poison synergy champion here for Clan Boss or anywhere else you need a good poisoner in the game. All right, let's go to the new faction here, guys. Man, a lot of people look at Dathi, Mist Rider Dathi, and Ruella, and nothing against those champions. I think they're absolutely amazing. But the champion that really, really impressed me, there's actually 2 of them here in terms of the epics, is Croydon Blue. This guy is so good, man. Very good. He looks badass. Magic Affinity Sylvan Watcher epic champion on his A1 triple hitter with a freeze. 35% chance on each hit. Great for Fire Knight hard, obviously, because we have turn meter reduction on every hit a chance at, right? On the A2, Razor Hail, 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 65% chance of placing a freeze for 1 turn. This is one of the best freeze abilities in the game because it's a 3-turn cooldown and it's a 2-time attack. So a 65% chance times 2. This is from an epic champion. This is very, very good, guys. And then Blessing of the Blue. This is what really cements him as being a great epic champion in my mind. It's kind of like Ragash. You have like a really nice A1, a really nice A2, and then he just switches the script on the A3 and he gives you some like really good support. Increase speed and a turn meter fill by 15%. That's very, very good. He's like adding a little apothecary into the kit, right? Out there on a 3-turn cooldown. Fills his champion's turn meter by 5% for each freeze debuff placed by this champion. Very, very cool control and freeze champion. Amazing for faction wars, for Fire Knight, or anywhere that you need a good CC and an increased speed turn meter booster. He serves like 2 roles, actually 3. A little bit of damage and the turn meter booster increased speed, all in one. Very cool champion. The next one is Kellen the Shrike. I like a little bit less than Croydon, but I was impressed by both of these champions. Epic attack-based champion, Magic Affinity against Sylvan Watchers, right? Attacks 1 enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a weaken for 2 turns on the A1. On the A2, 2-time hitter. First hit, has a 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown of decreasing the target's turn meter by 50%. I mean, that's really solid. Second hit, 100% chance of a decreased speed and a perfect villain champion for 2 turns. Man, that's a really nice ability, huh, guys? 50% chance turn meter decrease and a, 100% chance, 50% turn meter decrease and the increased speed. I mean, if I can talk, it'd be great. Ignore shield bust when attacking under perfect veil, which he has on the A2, and then an AoE Damage increases by 5% for each debuff on the target, and this guy can pretty much smack, dude. Like a really good, I don't know, like B-tier nuker on top of, again, that great control, especially for bosses on that A2 ability. I was impressed by his damage. I love that he has the big version of Weaken as well. So he's bringing quite a bit to the table. Decrease speed, turn meter, Weaken as well, and some damage. Very, very cool champion in Kellen the Shrike. All right, I have 2 more here, guys, for you. Now, one of them, the next place I'm going here, guys, I know that quite a few of you don't like this champion. But you ever have that champion, everybody else is kind of like, man, don't like that champion, and you like them? That's me and Kanagashi. Kanagashi is a Shadowkin spirit champion. And I liked her, man. She's fast, first of all, which we want out of our reviver. She's a reviver, a support champion on the A1, 2-time hitter. Each hit, 40% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Nice little control there on the A1, right? And then she has United Front. Attacks with teams up with a random ally to attack a single enemy. Also fills a turn meter of all allies by 15%. This seems underwhelming because of the ally attack with one single random ally, right? But the turn meter feels very useful, and that one ally, they might have a very good A1. It might be a Bellower, it might be an AoE, a Soulbound Bowyer. You might get some really good utility out of that A1, and even if you don't, right, at least you're getting hits against, you know, Fire Knight Shield in areas like that where that matters, right? If you need a reviver for like Phantom's Grove, right, at least you're getting extra hits if you have them awakened. So there's different utilities that you can get out of the teams up with a random ally, but more importantly, it's a turn meter fill there that you get as well, which is nice. She has a revive an ally, 50% HP, 50% turn meter, and the big version of increased defense for 2 turns. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. This is a very good single target revive, especially for an epic champion, guys. 50% HP, 50% turn meter, and the big version of increased defense is enough turn meter and survivability to make it a really solid revive kit. So there it is, guys. It's a simple kit, but I like it. We are decreasing turn meter, we are teaming up with an ally, turn meter boosting, and reviving where you need it. I think she's a great reviver option for Shadowkin Faction Wars or for progression in the game. And then last but not least is, we don't have to go far, guys, it's Siren. Siren is a Shadowkin Force Affinity attack-based champion, and she has a 2-time hitter with a poison. Each hit, 50% chance of landing that big version of poison for 2 turns. And then she's got each hit big version of Weaken on the A2 ability. Okay, now we're talking. And then we have an AoE big version decrease defense. So you're getting the decreased defense, you're getting the big version of Weaken as well, and we're getting poisons on the A1. This is on a 3-turn cooldown on the A3, and the A2 is on a 3-turn cooldown as well. So again, not a lot of options out there, especially in epic champions that can bring the big version of decreased defense on an AoE and who has Weaken also in their kit, especially useful against bosses, clan boss especially. Her defense is not that bad for a clan boss champion, so if you're looking for clan boss damage and debuffer and you don't have a Dracomorph or Venus or a Gentoro, I mean, Siren can definitely help you out in those regards. I was actually surprised at both the sneaky amount of damage you can get from this champion, as well as just having all of that in one kit. It is a bit unique for an epic. All right, guys, those are the epics. Now let's move over to the Legos, guys, and I want to start in the sacred order with Corvus the Corruptor. This dude is nasty, nasty, very good champion. He's a defense-based champion. He has defense in all battles by 30%, okay? I maxed this guy out, and I was like, okay, he's gonna be good, he's gonna be bad, like practically, you know, not just looking at the kit, what kind of a difference can they make on my account with my teams? And man, he is up there as an epic, just...
Am I in pain? Hell yeah.
Or excuse me, as a legendary, defense-based damage dealer. An AoE times 2 on a 3-turn cooldown on Medical Miracle, the A2 ability, right? First hit, increase the duration of all enemy debuffs. Second hit, increase the duration of all ally buffs. We know how valuable that is. There's not that many champions. Sandlash Survivor, Godseeker Aniri, Krisk the Ageless. There's not that many that have this on the same ability like this. Even some of those champions only have the increased duration of all ally buffs. So very, very nice there. And it's a 2-time hitter as well. This is also a 2-time stun chance on this ability on a 3-turn cooldown if you put him in a stun set. And then Field Research attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 100% chance of placing 2 poison debuffs for 2 turns. After attacking, places a poison sensitivity debuff on enemies under 2 or more poison debuffs. So it's an AoE 2 shots at landing the big version of poison, and poison sensitivity on a 4-turn cooldown. What a great poison damage dealer. Decreases the damage enemies under poison debuffs inflict 5% per poison, stacking up to 25%. Man, that's really, really solid on this dude. He's got the poisons, he's got the ally increased duration, he's got the enemy debuff increased duration, he's got the decreased attack on the A1, he's got poisons with poison sensitivity, he's got damage mitigation. This guy is really impressive. What a great support champion in the game. The next one is a guy who's fairly new to the game, and I really love this guy. Alsgore Crimsonhorn. He is the companion champion to Jetney the Giant. Now, when he's attacked on his Trammel passive, right, he has a 50% chance to place a big version of decreased speed on the attacker for 2 turns. It's a great ability, right? Just a passive, a decreased attack as a passive, very nice. It's 100% if Jetney's on the same team. Also noteworthy. The rest of his kit is kind of like a blend of a Mighty Uko in some ways and a Helicath in some ways. Quite different as well, but he's a nice kind of in-the-middle champion, and you guys will see why. In case you're unfamiliar with his kit, listen up, because it's really good.
Why are you looking at me like that?
We have a chance of increasing the duration of 2 random debuffs on the target on his A1 with a heal. Not bad, right? On his A1. On the A2, attacks all enemies. 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown of removing 2 random buffs from all enemies. A la a little bit of Mighty Uka, right? But he's also placed a continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. He's a great, great healer. On the A3, fully heals a target ally on a 4-turn cooldown with block damage for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. So again, a mini Roshguard, a mini Helicath, but also quite different with the full, complete heal there as well. And then we have that decreased speed on the passive. I actually really like this dude in the arena, especially if you don't have a Helicath, but even if you do, he's a sneaky good option. Removing buffs everywhere, provided they don't have like 6-star polymorphs or whatever, you know. Resounding Rally with the full heal and the block damage. Man, this guy can be very annoying to deal with, and I really, really like him in the arena. I like him in other areas too, anywhere you need a block damage champion, right? Especially if you don't, or if you're like kind of a newer player, you don't have Helicath. Very, very cool champ. Next up is going to be another dude that people really hate that I actually really like, and this is a Doom Tower champion, Doom Tower Hard. It's a Vassal of the Seal. So this guy's really cool. He's an HP-based champion. The reviews, you would never know it from looking at him. People hate him. People hate this dude. I actually really kind of like this dude. First off, there's some HP-only secret rooms on Doom Tower Hard, and I use this dude in all of them. He's very good. Great healer and control. He has an HP burn on the A1, so you can deal some damage provided they're under True Fear or decrease attack, okay? He has a shield on himself as well. On the A2, he's bringing on a 3-turn cooldown AoE, True Fear 100% land rate, and decrease attack 100% land rate. That's a really nice combo. The bad news is 7 levels on the A2, 5 levels on the A1, only 2 on the only 2 books needed, I should say, on the A3. But still, that's a lot of books for that ability. However, again, that's a really nice control ability in Doom Tower waves, especially any dungeon waves in the game. And then he has one of the best heals in the game, AoE, right? Demon Possession balances the HP of all levels. HP will be brought up to the ally with the highest level, and then after balancing gets an extra turn, okay? So we love that. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, but that will reduce the cooldown by 1 turn by getting that extra turn, and that allows him to get back to the Infernal Darkness quicker as well. Listen, this champion is actually pretty dang nice as a support, right? The problem is like end game outside of Doom Tower secret rooms, not a ton of utility, but hey, I think he has a really robust kit especially compared to some of the other Doom Tower hard champions that we get in this game. HP in all battles by 33% on the aura. The best HP all battle aura in the game, to my knowledge. Either that or tied with a couple others. Very, very good champion. Underrated in my opinion. I was surprised by him. Next up, we have Eric's. Well, you guys already know I was super surprised by Eric's. I saw a lot of people hating on Eric's, man. She's a daily login reward champion that you get fragments for like after like 4 years of playing the game.
Everything feels like the movie.
might exaggerate a little bit, but it's a while. Man, she's really good. She deals a ton of damage. AoE on the A1 with buff removal, AoE on the A2 with a 75% stun, right? Transfers a random debuff from this champion to the targets that receive the stun as well. Very nice ability, and it hits hard again. On the A3, ally protect on everybody with the counterattack, leading into more AoEs with buff removal. Basically, she's amazing for Hydra. She's amazing for Arena. She's amazing for those HP-only secret rooms. I use her in a lot of different areas. Basically, anytime I can find an excuse to use Eric's, I do. Fills a champion's turn meter by 5% each time an ally inflicts a critical hit. Heals a champion 5% of their max HP each time an enemy inflicts a critical hit. That's great, because when they inflict a crit, enemies, 15% crit rate on bosses in this game, when they inflict a critical hit, it can really hurt. So that heal is actually really nice there. It doesn't sound like much, but it's nice to have. Not a massive game changer with 5%. That turn meter fill is certainly a massive game changer. It just keeps her going and going and going. I really, really love Eric's. And we don't have to move far at all to give a massive shout out to Versolf the Grim. You guys know, been watching this channel for any amount of time, that I think that Knights Revenant is, well, it's my favorite faction in the game. There's so many sneaky good champions, and Versolf the Grim is an old school fragment summon champion who, again, kind of like Mother Cybele, I could probably include both of them in this conversation. I don't get why people don't give them more credit, more props. Versolf, first of all, can deal a lot of damage, and is really one of the best protectors in the game. I really, truly feel that, guys. Especially if you exclude Void legendaries. We have a Provoke on the A1, and then a shield on this champion. On the A2, an AoE with an extra hit against enemies under stun, freeze, all the CC debuffs. But we're also placing a leech for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Man, that's very freaking good, guys. I mean, it deals a lot of damage, good multiplier, especially for an HP-based champion, generally considered to be the weakest out of attack and defense-based in terms of nukage. But we get that and an extra hit chance, and then the leech on top of that. That's great. But man, look at this. Quality minions. One of the better support abilities in the game, guys. We have an increased defense in all allies and an ally protection. Both big versions, all on a 3-turn cooldown. Doesn't get much better than that in terms of ally protection. Not to mention, we're healing with that leech as well, and dealing a lot of damage. When hit, has a 20% chance of placing a provoke debuff on the attacker, occurs once per hit. Dude, that's really good too. You have built-in control now in the kit that seemingly has a little bit of everything. I really think Versolf is criminally underrated in this game. And again, I am going all Night Revenant all the time, baby. Walking Tomb Drang. I'm going to end with 3 pretty obvious ones, I think. But Walking Tomb Drang, I mean, in the spirit of today's video, I wanted to talk about champions that I maxed out, not sure how much I would use them, not sure how good they would be, and they ended up being insanely good, or way better than I thought at least. And Walking Tomb Drang is the definition of that. I've said this before, and I think the majority of you guys actually kind of agree with me based on the comments, but some people like strongly disagree, and I don't understand why. But I think that Walking Tomb Drang is one of the more powerful champions inside the entire game. I really do feel that way, guys. We get instant activation of any HP burns on the A1. A lot of people don't realize this, but there's no accuracy required. Let me repeat that. No accuracy required to activate HP burns. And it's not like a 30% chance like a Saoirse or something like that. It's a 100% chance with no accuracy needed. That's very, very good, right? It makes him able to solo so much content in the game, being an HP-based champion as well. I use him in so many different areas. My main burner for Ice Golem to stage hard 10. My main solution for with Godseeker and Neri to Sand Devil, right? An AoE with an HP burn that cannot be resisted on a 3-turn cooldown. What more do you want from a burner? Sit back, take a step back, Ignatius. He has a similar, cannot be resisted, but I think it's on a 5 or a 6-turn cooldown, booked down to a 4, I believe. But still, he's got it on a 3-turn cooldown. And then he has to equalize the HP of all allies, attacks an enemy. A great heal. HP levels of all allies will be brought up to a level of the ally with the highest HP. Again, this is an insanely good heal added to an already great kit. Reflecting damage, 30% more damage and less than 50% HP. Really, the passive to me is somewhat negligible on this champion because the rest of his H is A1, A2, and A3. Just amazing. HP in all battles by 30%. He's landing the burns, can't be resisted, then he's activating them, can't be resisted. I mean, just an insanely good champion. I'm, again, going with the more obvious ones. This is one, though, that I did not know when I first invested in this champion. I didn't know what I was going to get, and I always forget that he's Shadowkin and not Undead Horde, and it's Mishinaki. I don't know. He looks either like an Undead Horde or a Demon Spawn to me. Maybe I'm crazy. He's got a little bit of the Shadowkin motif going on, too. And he's got... Who is that? Is that Nethral's head? Is that... Whose head is that? Yeah, what up, man? So I knew this guy was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be this good. He's just one of the better champions in the game, really. An AoE, decreased defense, and decreased attack on a 3-turn cooldown, right? Then he's got an AoE, 2-time hitter, first hit, removing all buffs, second hit, putting a hex. And then whenever an ally attacks an enemy under hex, he has a 50% chance to join up in the attack. And when he's joining up, he's got a 60% chance of placing a burn for 2 turns. This guy can deal some insane damage. Burns, hard-hitting A1, hard-hitting A2, hard-hitting A3, all AoEs, all on 3-turn cooldowns. Not to mention the decreased defense, the decreased attack, the buff removal, and the hex. He's bringing so much to the table. Really one of the true SSSS tier champions for Hydra Clan Boss. In terms of Hydra Clan Boss damage dealers, I would rank him right behind Acresia. And that's it. You know, he's that good. He's in that small conversation of those champions. Just so good. Just so good. And then the last one is going to be the bug. Number 20, guys. Champion number 20 is Neckmothar. I love this bug, man. He's so good. He's so good for Hydra, obviously, but he's so good really anywhere else, too. You can throw him in a stun set. You can put him in a relentless set. There's so many options on how to build him. He just got so much. He's got the AoE, decrease attack on the A1. 75% if they're under debuffs. It's great. Big version on the A1. Another AoE on the A2. 3-turn cooldown, decrease speed, big version, leech, big version. So 2 AoEs. He's a support champion, but he's an attack-based champion. His multipliers aren't insane, but they're not lousy. And he has a 1233 for a support base attack. Really good. He can deal some sneaky damage in Hydra with 2 AoEs. And then he's got this ability, man. It's nasty. 30% turn meter fill, big version increased speed with an extra turn. And it just keeps getting better. Rune of Haste fills his champion's turn meter by 5% for each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transfers, or expires. And this is not just him, it's every debuff on the team, dude. I like to pair him with Contra the Cyclone, and between the two of them, there's just debuffs flying on and off the Hydra heads at all times, and his turn meter is just Rune of Haste, Rune of Haste, Rune of... There's no cooldown, it just happens all the time. He's got extra turns, he's got turn meter boost, he's got all the most essential, or I shouldn't even say essential. I would just like say that Leech and decrease speed on an AoE and decrease attack, maybe a little bit less so than decrease attack, but it's hard to find that many champions that have that, especially all of it together, man. He's my favorite speed champion in the game, dude. Neckmothar, I love him. Even though I knew he was going to be good, I just didn't recognize how irreplaceable he would be, especially in terms of Hydra. So there you have it, guys. Those are 20 champions who massively exceeded my expectations. What about you? Have you invested in any of these champions? If so, who did you find overwhelming? Maybe you found some underwhelming. And who did I not mention, that somebody that you invested in that you don't hear other people talk about enough in your opinion? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.